Hi, I'm Lisa Leiter. In Chicago Business Today, the political week in review. Each week during the race to become Chicago's next mayor, I've been sitting down with Crain's political columnist Greg Hines to talk about it. And now that Election Day is just days away, the campaign is turning nasty between the candidates. We began our conversation talking about that. So, Greg, not surprisingly, in the final days of the campaign, it's starting to get nasty. You have Gary Chico's new TV ad saying Emanuel grew up in the safe and secure suburbs and that he's out of touch. You have the local union president calling Rahm Emanuel a Wall Street Judas and having all these charges of anti-Semitism. What's the impact of all of this, and are we likely to see more of it in the last final days of the campaign?
I don't think there's going to be a lot of impact, although heaven knows it's gotten really chippy. I mean, we should be talking about that big budget deficit, why the city's population decreased a ton, how we're going to create jobs in this town. And instead, it's gotten into kind of a food fight. I guess it's kind of the ultimate ending to what's been a pretty sad mayoral election campaign, all in all.
It hasn't been as exciting as perhaps when we started these conversations we thought it might be. What do you make of that?
Well, I make that Carol Braun imploded. Some of the really good candidates dropped out. And the two leading candidates who are there, Mr. Emanuel and Mr. Chico, have a lot of similarities. They kind of go in the same directions on some things. And it's to probably both of their advantage not to get terribly specific about nasty budget cuts or what you're going to do with pensions for city workers and that kind of thing.
Earlier this week, a poll showed Emanuel with 58% of the vote. How do you think it's going to end up shaking out? Do you think it's going to be closer to 50%? What are your expectations? Will he be able to avoid a runoff?
I'm not picking. I think the polls are probably an accurate snapshot of when they were taken, but no voter likes to be taken for granted. And there's a risk that as all these polls come out saying Mr. Emanuel is way out ahead, that some of his people are going to say, what do I need to, if there's a cloud in the sky, what do I need to bother to turn out to vote for? He's going to win without me, which could hurt him.
Sure. Break down the formula for me for Emanuel to get that 50% vote. Who needs to turn out? Everyone is probably going to be your answer, but what do we really need to see? Can you break it down?
He probably needs 60-65% of white voters. He needs 35-40%, maybe more of African American voters, and then he needs a healthy slice of Hispanics.
And some nice weather.
Nice weather probably helps him, although he has machine support on the northwest side, where Mr. Chico does on the southwest side, and lousy weather, low turnout usually helps machine candidates.
If we do have a situation where there will be an April runoff, I'm curious about the impact on the business community. Business hates uncertainty. Will a few more months of uncertainty have any real impact on business in Chicago?
Probably not. There's a good side to having a runoff. We'll get a much clearer, narrower, focused debate. Maybe we'll really find out more details on how you're going to cut the budget deficit. That's not all bad. But you're right, the business guys want it all over and done with, and they want their guy to win. But like the rest of us, they're going to have to take what they get.
All right, Greg. Well, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
And that's this edition of Chicago Business Today. For all of our political coverage and Election Day news, be sure to stick with chicagobusiness.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great long weekend. We'll see you back here on Tuesday.